Hi guys, Michelle Turnus with Remax Revolution and the Harmeyer team. Hey, I am getting ready, just leaving a buyer closing, and we're really excited about this one. There's been a lot of trials along the way, and I thought, you know what, this story would be a great story for people to hear. I think, unfortunately, in our industry, a lot of agents just like to share the pretty sides of real estate, and I think that it's important to show you really some of the more difficult situations that agents can help you work through, and why it's important to have an agent to help you work through these things. So these particular people were sellers earlier this year. They decided to sell their home and wait to purchase a home. They decided to move in with their folks. But when they started this journey, they were looking at a home and they were looking at making just subject to sale offers and doing the transition all at once. As they went through the process, they started to realize the market started to get a little bit more competitive, and they started to realize it might be a better deal for them to actually wait and sell their house first, move in with folks for a little bit until they found that right property. So during that seller process, two offers fell through. One during inspection period. Well, both fell through during inspection period. One was due to inspection items. The other one was really just an investor wanted the property cheap, and they tried to use the inspection period to really as leverage for things that were already disclosed and they already knew about, to try to get more money back. So or reduce the price. So it was kind of some sneaky tactics that didn't work very well, and the offer ended up we ended up moving on to relisting and getting another offer, which eventually they got the house sold. They were very happy with that process, and thankfully we got them what they needed out of their home to be able to move to their next property. So that was kind of thing one. Then when they had an offer on a home that was subject to them getting the proceeds from one of these sales, and the one that fell through, and unfortunately the deal fell through, and the sellers of the other property were willing to wait for a little while, but eventually they weren't willing to wait any longer. And so they lost this property that they wanted to purchase. And they were a little bit devastated, a little bit disappointed, but eventually we ended up getting an offer, selling their house. During the process, things went smooth. The inspection went clear, went through fine. Financing part went through fine, but we got to title opinion, and there was a $75,000 lien against their property from a previous owner that hadn't come up when they bought their home. So what do? You can't sell your house with a lien on it, or you can if you've got enough proceeds to pay off that lien, but $75,000 is quite a lot to pay off. It also had a lien against someone, against the property for someone with the same name. They have a very common last name, but this wasn't the right person. It had a different date of marriage. These people it was previous to them being married, so previous to her married name changing to that. So we had to walk through the process with the title opinion attorneys and help them get those two things resolved. It took a little bit of patience and a little bit of time, but thankfully both of those things were able to get cleared. Then they moved in with their folks, wrote several offers on a couple different properties, and really it was difficult to find a property. They really liked split foyers, split levels, and so finding a property they liked was a difficult challenge in itself. And then we'd have to jump. Unfortunately, they didn't have an extremely flexible schedule, so we couldn't go look the minute a property came on the market. We had to go see properties that night, and a lot of properties were getting sold before we had the opportunity to look at them. Like I said, we wrote a couple offers. They just weren't high enough. They kept getting beat out. Finally, the buyers heard from a friend of a friend that someone was selling their house and it was going to be going on the market in a few days. They set up an appointment to go see that house. I went with them. We walked through. We all agreed it was a great property. And basically we came up with a strategy to write an offer that was desirable enough that we would hopefully be able to talk the listing agent and sellers into going ahead and allowing us to submit an offer, let them look at it, with the contingency that they would not put the home on the market if they liked the offer. They would go ahead and just accept it before the home even went on the market. We really had a good discussion, talked about what they'd be comfortable paying, what we thought it might take to get the home, and lo and behold, they wrote a good offer. Thank goodness the sellers accepted that offer, and today we are finally closed, and that property is their property. So it was a rough ride. These guys were so patient and understanding, and thankfully they were working with a real estate agent who understood the process, understood the challenges, and can kind of hold their hand and guide them through the process and help them work through some of the kinks that came up along the way. So anyway, that is just my Friday story on a not so glamorous transaction, in terms of it wasn't all roses and butterflies. There was a lot of bumps and challenges, rejections, frustrations along the way, but we were able to help them and eventually get their house sold and get them into their new property. So if you guys are thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we would love to talk to you. Give us a call sometime. It's 515-978-1001. Have a great weekend.